the world is destroyed. It's full of lava, blown up, debris everywhere, even in the atmosphere. I remember the world before it was like this, before those missiles had come down. The day was October 13th, 2025, and it was the day that the Moon Easter egg took place. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, today is the exact day that the Moon Easter egg takes place within Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3, the remakes. Not just October 13th, but specifically 2025. That means that any minute now, we can expect missiles to be coming down and destroying the whole planet. So I'm just practicing for 10 years from now, when it's around the time of transit, and I have to tell the new kids what the planet was like before it got blown up. While we wait for these missiles to arrive, I think it'd be pretty interesting if we can discuss some of the more nuanced things about Moon, the map, and its whole Easter egg, and the things that led up to it. Let's start with the map itself. Did you know that Moon takes place on the moon? Who could have guessed that? And in case you don't know what the moon is, it's that big ass circle in the sky. No, not the one during the day, but the other one that's there most of the time, except that like once a month where it's invisible. If you didn't know what the moon was, I'm gonna ask you to click off the video and go look up some math for first graders. That being said, it is also the only zombies map to feature the low gravity mode of both the player and the zombies. With the exception of Voyage of Despair for that one weird Easter egg, it's a whole thing, we don't gotta worry about it. But just know, it's pretty much the only map to primarily feature it, and it's really cool. The anti-gravity mixes with the janky classic COD movement in a very interesting way, because sometimes it could help the player, letting you jump over zombies and avoid hordes, but also the zombies can jump too so they can get in your way. And then there are times where you'll go to jump over the zombies, and then somehow I guess the zombie's forehead grew a foot and it clipped your toenail or something, so you got stuck on it. You know, again, it's the classic COD jankiness of movement and hitboxes. But it interacts with the player in a really unique way that leads to a super fun map experience. Naturally, with low gravity comes no oxygen. They kind of go hand in hand in most things, and that's why the map also features a space helmet, so that way you can breathe when you're in one of the areas with no gravity. That being said, pretty much the whole map starts out having no oxygen and no gravity, but you can get the map to have certain rooms with oxygen in it, and it's one of the cool gameplay features. That being said, you also can't hold on to the hacker and a space helmet at the same time. Why? I don't know, I guess your character just is weak or something, even though they can hold on to 2 LMGs, 3 with Mule Kick. I don't know, but you just can't, alright? Maybe you keep the hacker in your mouth or something. So balancing out when and where to take the helmet versus the hacker and what room should have oxygen is a very important thing to do, and another one of the things that makes Moon a very difficult map, arguably the hardest map on Black Ops 1. By far, one of the best parts of the map is the starting room. The starting room is really unique in the sense that it is in Area 51. This is a really cool setting for a starting room to be in, and really cool to see in COD Zombies. But what's even better is that functionally, it is extremely different from not only every other starting room to that point, but every other starting room we've seen since. To get out of the starting room, you don't just simply buy a door and then walk into the next room like most maps, but rather, you have to teleport out. What's even cooler is that the rounds do not officially start until you teleport. Because of this unique feature, it lets you save up enough points for either Jug or Speed Cola, or if you're crazy enough, even Pack-a-Punch while you're there at the start. Starting off the game already with one of these perks, or Pack-a-Punch, could be super helpful, especially since it's such a difficult map. What's even cooler is that after you complete the main quest Easter egg, the skybox in Area 51 changes to a red dusk, almost like you can see the explosion coming in on it. The red skybox looks very cool, and it's definitely not something I've seen appreciated enough throughout the years. That also brings me to my next point about how it takes place at the same time as Nuketown. Now, most people know this, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but in case you don't, I'll quickly say that Nuketown takes place during the same time as the Moon Easter egg, and on round 25, you can see the zombies' eyes turn blue on that map. That is because Richtofen has taken over the aether, and he's now in control of the zombies. This is also why at the ending of the Nuketown loading screen, or not loading screen, but end credit scene, when you see the missiles coming down, that is actually not missiles because it's Nuketown, that is missiles from the moon. Speaking of ending screens, Moon is the only Black Ops 1 map to not have an ending screen song. This is likely because, up to that point, all the songs were teasers for the Easter egg song of the next map, and this is obviously the ending of the Black Ops 1 map cycle, so they didn't really have anything in plan. Of course, there's Black Ops 2, but at that point, I don't think they had any of that planned, and I think it was good to symbolize the closure of that chapter of the COD Zombies lore. Last thing I'll say about Area 51 is that the zombies there will never drop power-ups, not at the start of the game or anytime you return there. 9 years ago, Treyarch released a video titled Treyarch: A Brief History. It's a very interesting watch, and I suggest it to you if you haven't watched it yet. That being said, one thing that is shown very briefly is an alternate moon loading screen. Now, this caused a wave of theories and ideas. Most commonly was a theory for a moon prequel. Now, this probably would have been a map that took place on the moon itself, featuring different characters, perhaps whoever ended up becoming the astronaut, or maybe there's multiple astronauts because they kind of like respawn in. We don't really know for sure. Of course, there's plenty of theories on who the astronaut is, but there's nothing confirmed. That being said, if the prequel couldn't have really been with the same characters, because we saw them previously on the other Black Ops 1 maps, it's a whole thing. It's also very possible they kind of used the picture on accident, because, I could simply see a Treyarch employee being like, here's the moon loading screen, and clicking and uploading it and doing whatever, without realizing that it's slightly different. But then it also begs the question, why does that picture even exist in the first place? Like, why would a Treyarch employee, artist, go through the trouble of drawing all that for them not to use it? Was it as simple as a beta loading screen? Like, what's the deal there? And even the changes are so simple and so different that it's like, even if it was the first one made, why would someone look at that and go, yeah, but we should change the loading screen for this? It really doesn't make too much sense. So if you ask me, in my personal opinion, it was foreshadowing something that was canceled. It could also have been for Zombies Chronicles, but I don't personally think that's what it was. Again, I think it's just something that we'll never know unless someone happens to say something in an interview, but I doubt that's ever going to happen. The loading screen has way more interesting stuff than just that, though. On the left, you can see what looks like a newspaper article advertising some of these products that you can buy. Again, for the sake of keeping this video simple and broad, I'm not going to go through each item, but just know that they're all previous items from a different COD map. I think it's really cool, so you can either pause the video or look up the picture online, or get really bad Wi-Fi and open up Black Ops 1 and load into it yourself. But I would just take the time to look at all these items if you want to. Personally, I think it's all cool, but I wouldn't buy any of it. The only thing I'd want to buy is Sloppy Toppy from a zombie with a twist. With the introduction of Moon, also came the introduction of one of the most beloved perks, and a staple perk now, Mule Kick. What's really cool is that not only was it added to Moon, but it was retroactively added to every single map. And in some cases, like on 5, it's really cool and fits in really well. On other ones, it makes no sense. Like, for example, Nocturne and Toten having no perks other than just randomly Mule Kick for no reason. Kinda confusing. It's even weirder on the Black Ops 3 remake where they just decided to keep it. Because I remember initially when I didn't realize that they, why Mule Kick was on Nocturne and Toten, because they added it on the Black Ops 1 remake, I was just like, huh? This map has no perks, no Pack-a-Punch, but randomly Mule Kick? Okay then. So, it's kind of weird in some cases, but overall, I think it was a really cool thing they did, and I wish they would do more stuff like that nowadays. I know that with the Wonder Fizz in every map, the perk gets added onto every single map, and it's a whole thing, but I think the Wonder Fizz is really lame, and having every single perk on every map is really lame. But that's enough trashing on modern COD Zombies. Let's get back to talking about Moon. Seeing as that I was just talking about the Black Ops 3 remake, we can get into that as well. Now, naturally the Black Ops 3 remake is pretty much what you'd expect, especially in comparison to the other ones. There's some good changes, some bad ones. A really good change in my opinion is the round change music. Prior to Black Ops 2, in particular Alcatraz, or Mob of the Dead, maps did not have unique round change music. So all the Black Ops 1 maps had the same round change music. But when it got ported over to Black Ops 3, it got its own unique sound effects, and they fit the map so well. They are so gas, so goated. It's one of the best things they did. I am so glad they did that. The music is just peak, it fits the map perfectly. But I also think Black Ops 3 did some negative changes. One obvious one is PhD is not in the game. I know it wasn't in the original maps for Black Ops 3, but they definitely should have included it. And again, I know that there was no flopping, but they could have made it PhD slider or found some way. Because in Moon in particular, the launch pads in the biodome doing fall damage is really annoying, and not having PhD to stop that really sucks, and I kind of hate that. At the very least, they should have made them do no fall damage, or like something like that. I don't know. Like, I know there's the platforms you can land on, but missing it is just like instant death, and you don't have PhD as an alternative. Maybe make stamina up, have you take no fall damage like it is in modern games. That would have been a good option in Black Ops 3. I kind of hate that they did that now when we do have PhD. Like, why does stamina up stop fall damage when PhD's in the game? But in Black Ops 3, when PhD isn't in the game, that wasn't a thing. The QED, or Quantum Entanglement Device, is a really cool tactical, because it's just kind of like a grenade that does whatever it wants to. And it affects vary quite drastically, especially in the Black Ops 3 version, as where between Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 3 there's a few different things it does. So much so I can't even list off all the effects right now, because there's like 30 to 40-ish of them. But some of them are really cool. Like, for example, they can revive a downed teammate, but it's not guaranteed. So if you throw it on your teammate, they're not guaranteed to get revived. It's only like if the grenade feels like doing it. Or they could drop like a pack-a-punched weapon, or a ray gun, for example. It could drop a perk power-up for the whole team. It could drop any power-up, just the perk power-up's the rarest, and obviously the best one to get. In Black Ops 3 only, it could transform into the other grenades. Really, I think that's just only the regular grenade, then Widow's Wine grenade. I don't think there's any other grenades that it can transform into, or that are even in the game. The Hacker is a device that is really cool, because you can kind of interact with different things throughout the map, and it'll have different effects. It's similar to the QED, but also different at the same time. One thing of note, as I said earlier, you can't have a space helmet on and the Hacker equipped at the same time, so you have to make sure that you're in an area with oxygen, or you're not there for too long if you have the Hacker. The Hacker can do a ton of different things. You can hack another player to give them some of your points. You can hack the Pack-a-Punch machine to lower the gates around it in Area 51, so that way you can safely Pack-a-Punch. You could hack a perk to give it back up and get your money back, which I think is really cool. Unfortunately, that was removed from the Black Ops 3 version. I don't know why they removed that specifically. Seems kind of random, and it was like a really cool feature. I honestly think that should be in every map. Maybe not getting your points back, but at the very least giving up a perk, because I guess less so in modern games with no perk limit. But I don't know, I could picture a classic game where maybe you buy double tap as your second perk because it's really useful, but then you end up not using any bullet guns or guns where it's particularly helpful. So you say, oh man, I like to trade out my double tap for, I don't know, Widow's Wine or whatever it is. So it's like, oh yeah, that'd be understandable. And now you have to take it down if you want to do that, which can be really annoying. So I think that should be something that's incorporated into every map. I lied, there's one more thing that I want to talk about, and it's the Astronaut. Now the Astronaut is the mini boss for the map. If it grabs you, you take a ton of damage. I think it leaves you at 1 health, teleports you somewhere random, and it steals one of your perks. So, pretty unique boss that I like a lot, and I know most people do too. What's really cool is that it stays there forever until you kill it, and then it respawns in. So you can have it at round 1, and like hold it to round 50, and then you'll have one at round 1 health, so it can be really easy to kill. But obviously, of course, it'll follow you around, again, super slowly, but it'll be following you around the whole time. The lore of the Astronaut is really neat, because it's kind of debated on the specifics of it. Again, with much of classic COD, it's one of those things that has a lot of theories about it. I think that's something the newer storylines are missing, and why a lot of people are less invested is because there's less theories about it, there's less mystery, there's less things that we don't know, if that makes sense. But going back to the Astronaut, the general consensus is that they are test subjects from, I think one of like Richtofen's or Maxis's labs. Again, the specifics can vary. I also know that some people bring up like a specific character who's like a private in the army. I think each astronaut is a different person, though, a different person they sent to space to test it. You know, they were the testers for the teleporters. So they put these people in an astronaut suit, they stuck them on the teleporter and said, all right, we're going to teleport you to the moon and back to see if our teleporter works. Obviously, the way there worked, the way back did not, and as such, they got affected by 115 and became a zombie in an astronaut suit. And I think this really leads into the cool Easter egg as well. I don't know if Easter egg is the right word for it, but where astronauts will have the names of different people in your friend group. So you'll be like, whoa, what? That's Whiskey Drinker 88578. But he's my friend from school. What's he doing as that astronaut? And then he grabs you and, you know, takes your perk. And he's like, oh, your perk is mine. Ooh. You're like, no, my perk. You alcoholic. Err. Well, that's all I got, as these missiles are slowly approaching Earth, and they'll blow us up, and we'll go into the apocalyptic world, where everything's on fire and there's lava everywhere. And we'll have to wear tight leather with spikes on it that looks weirdly sexy, but also weirdly off-putting at the same time. Anyways, I'm gonna go at a bus stop and wait for Ted to pick me up now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and have a good one.